Shift gears just a little bit, or quite a bit, and talk a little bit about some Chicago Bulls basketball. Both of us have done some. Well, I'm covering the Bulls quite a bit, and you have done so as well. But this roster is one of the, I would say, one of the most interesting of in the league. Um, I don't think you can find like 10 people that will agree what the ceiling is for the team. I think they're absolutely a top 5 league pass team, like a team you just want to watch.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think that the Bulls are, and I'm born and raised in Chicago. I don't think that the Bulls are done dealing with this roster. I think there's still going to be at least a moderate to significant move during the course of this season.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to ask you a question. If you're looking at the Bulls roster, right? If there's a player on that roster who you would say is valuable, but also expendable, who would you say that is?
I'd probably go with Coby White. He's shown flashes of potential where, last year I think he was starting point guard. That wasn't a position that was necessarily natural for him, but he was penned as being a guy who could someday be like a 6th man of the year. And in this lineup, he could do that with all the weapons around him. But at the same time, if he can't hold up defensively, he could become a liability, and the Bulls would be willing to part ways with him. He's just about the last piece from the last regime, and Karnisovas and Eversley, that's where they keep refining the team. And yeah, there could be a lot of moves on the horizon.
Yeah, I totally see that, and I don't doubt that. I don't say that that's something that is impossible. But when I look at the way the team is currently built, what I'm looking at is from a stylistic standpoint. And I can't imagine, even though I can imagine him being an expendable trade piece, I can't imagine him ultimately fitting, because the one thing about Coby is effort is never an issue. Coby plays hard from bail to bail. I mean, he's going to play hard, and most of his poor defense comes from poor technique and just lower basketball IQ at this stage of his career than it comes from like a lack of effort. So that's like totally a fixable thing. Will he ever be like Gary Payton or Tony Allen? No, but he doesn't necessarily have to be, because what he delivers on the offensive side, he just needs to be a solid defender. And I still think that that's very possible. He's still such a young player. The guy that I'm looking at is a much better player overall, which is part of being a valuable trade guy, is Nikola Vucevic. And the reason why I say Vuce is because from a stylistic standpoint, the team that the Bulls have built is a smaller, more athletic, longer limbed, switch everything on defense kind of a team. And if you watch them during the preseason, and keeping that in the proper perspective, Vooch was the guy who needed the most help on defense. Like, they have to completely scheme around the way they handle pick and roll when Vooch is involved, because his feet are so slow on defense that he needs a wing defender to show, to keep the ball handler coming off the screen honest. And it gives Vooch an opportunity to react, because that essentially buys him the time. That's pretty significant, right? When you look at it from an overall defensive standpoint, because I think we know that the Bulls will be able to score the basketball. Zach LaVine is one of the best scorers in the league, in my opinion. DeMarr DeRozan is a proven scorer. Lonzo overall helps your offense function. And then, of course, you do have Vooch, but you also have Patrick Williams, who right now doesn't really need to score as much because of what they have. So I don't know. I look at Vooch. I wrote an article. It got quite the polarizing comments about how I thought that Vucevic as a main piece in a trade, along with Coby White, to the Minnesota Timberwolves for Karl Anthony Towns, which you'll know a little bit about this Minnesota talk.
Oh yeah.
How I thought that would be a deal that made some sense. Obviously the Timberwolves wouldn't be jumping up and down to do this, but I'm getting the feeling that Karl is not happy with what he described as a dysfunctional environment. So, what do you think?
I'm just like, I can't blame Karl Anthony Towns at all, and especially like he's been extremely loyal and faithful. He's been going through all of his personal life situations and still managing to progress every year as a player. And he's made it to one playoffs, like
Yeah.
one playoff appearance in that whole time.
Mhm.
Zach LaVine needed a change of scenery as well. And, I think there had to be a little more draft capital involved, obviously.
Definitely. Yeah. We talked
But
about that. Yeah.
yeah. But it's definitely not out of question, I'd say.
Yeah, I would. I think that it's something that ultimately helps. Um, I think if only way this helps the Timberwolves is if they get to a place where Carl has asked to be traded.
Hmm.
Because if he doesn't ask to be traded, it's not the right thing to do. But if he asks to be traded and he doesn't want to be there anymore, then I think that that is when it's the best. But see, Carl is such a professional, and I've had the pleasure of meeting Carl, spent an entire day with the guy. I mean, this dude is like, he's one of my favorite players pretty much forever.
Hmm.
I had an opportunity to spend a day with him. I had both of my sons with him. We had to do a lot of running around. The guy literally like bought my kids food. Like, so he's my guy. So he is my guy. But I think because he's such a professional, man, um, he he's not probably ever gonna make that kind of noise. He's probably not gonna go that route. Who knows? Maybe he will. But if he ever does, man, the Bulls should be on the horn trying to get a reunion going with Zach and Cat, who are tight.
Hmm.
They are tight. It would make sense to me, man. So that's my take on it, Trevor. I appreciate you jumping on with me today, talking Vikings and Bulls. Hopefully, I hope we get an opportunity to do this again.
Yeah, let's do
It'll
it.
be great.